welcome to Climate Change, What People Really Think. I'm Naomi Davis. The recent Victorian bushfires and the Queensland floods are a real indication of the dramatic change in weather conditions. Climate change is any long-term significant change in average weather over a period of time. It reflects abnormal variations of our climate here on Earth. Since the 1950s, our temperature within Australia has risen by 1 degree Celsius. There is an increase in heat waves and a decrease in cold days and frosts. Most of eastern and southwestern Australia has also had a dramatic decline in rainfall. Considering the enormous effect this issue has on humans and the environment, let's take a look at what people really think of climate change.
Do you think climate change is a real threat?
I'm sure it's real. We've got 6 billion people living on the earth, and the effects of those are multiplied by the things that we buy, the things that we make. So of course it has an effect on the environment. We extract natural materials from the environment and we leave rubbish behind.
Australia is not too much water, not like other countries. So that's a big problem in Australia.
It is an immediate issue because we should have been doing something about it for a lot longer than we have, and I know that we have been doing things in my lifetime, but we need to start making more change right now.
What do you do to give back to the environment?
Well, as you can see, we're building a sustainable house where we're using recycled materials. One of my earliest thoughts was that when I went to the tip with my father was that you could one day build a house out of other people's junk, and that's more or less what we've done. Although there's some new materials in this house, most of the things have come from builders' skips, from the tip, and from houses that are being demolished.
I try to make my imprint as small as I can. I try to watch what I buy or watch what I throw out.
I always try and use as less water as possible, so make sure I have my 3-minute showers, and yeah, never litter, and just try in any way that's kind of given me an opportunity. Like last year I went to Splendour in the Grass and they had the option of a carbon offset charge, so I chose that charge for purchasing those tickets.
What do you think the Australian government can do to help?
I'm not sure how in-depth the information they provide is, but I think that at least they're making it a political issue and making it something that people are aware of.
Both parties need to stop squabbling about these issues, and they need to kind of sit down and come to an agreement to make it an apolitical issue and address it that way.
Plant more trees, yeah, something like that.
So I think using cars less is an important thing to consider. And using transport less for transporting goods and materials, particularly food, would be a good idea. At the moment, food has got a large carbon footprint, just partly, well, because of the production by the farmers, but also because it's transported such a long distance. Some things come from 2,000 kilometres away. They're refrigerated, and so it's a very inefficient means of distribution. Unfortunately, that's the way that supermarkets are working at the moment, so obviously we need to put a higher value on fossil fuels, and in my opinion the price of oil would be better to go up rather than down.
Why do you think we are so run by oil companies and multinational corporations?
They're always going to have an argument for stuff that they know already makes them money, and it's probably just as much a responsibility of the consumer as it is the company. So whether or not people aren't saying, no, that's what I want.
Obviously money speaks. They're able to hire lobbyists, and governments need money and they need taxes, so these companies, because they've been allowed to grow unchecked, to make donations to political parties, that it's very hard to neutralise their effect. I suppose gradually it'll happen because we'll probably start to run out of oil, and the price of oil will go up, so probably these companies will gradually lose their power. If they had any vision, they would be developing other sources of business like solar power.
Solar power. How do we do it?
Well, solar power, there's two types of solar power, but the one we're generally talking about is photovoltaic cells, and that's what most households are going to use. Here in Yakandanda there's about at least 100 houses now with solar panels on them. They've done this through group buying schemes where they've reduced the cost by getting solar panels installed in bulk, but these have all been people in Yakandanda. Most of the people in Yakandanda are connected to the grid, so they've been feeding the power into the grid, and when they need extra power they take power out of the grid. When you have solar panels you actually have an electronic meter that tells you how much power you've used and how much power you've generated that day. The sun comes in here in winter. This is called passive solar design. Falls onto the floor. The hot air then heats these rocks and then drifts into the house. For industry generating electricity, well, we could do it with either large areas of photovoltaic cells in sunny areas like northwestern Victoria or the Goulburn Valley. Land's cheap in Australia, so there's no problem in covering large areas with solar panels. The other possibility is to have a thermal solar power station where you have a large number of mirrors focusing heat onto a medium which creates steam and drives turbines.
What should we do to help the environment?
We've got gas hot plates for cooking in summer so we don't generate too much heat. We've got in here a fridge cabinet, the idea being that the cabinet keeps the fridge cool most of the year because it's ventilated to the exterior. Heavy glass door with seals on it.
It's just the little things that count, and there are many shades of grey.
I think there's lots of things we can do, little things. If we make little decisions, if we all make little decisions, then they can help everyone.
Can be more aware of what we consume and what we use in the home. I think we can also share ideas around the home as to how we consume energy, things like that, what we're actually purchasing. I think the home's a good starting point for environmental awareness.
It's just a matter of willpower, really.
Future increases in temperature have been predicted to be between 1.1 degrees Celsius and 6.5 degrees Celsius. Australia is more likely than any other country in the world to be affected by climate change due to our rainfall and our location. We as Australians have the most to lose. Whether it's rising sea levels, droughts, floods, bushfires, we are all heavily at risk. Every action has a reaction, and the planet is reacting. We all need to make serious changes to our lifestyle and our imprint on the environment. What can you do to combat climate change? I'm Naomi Davis, and thanks for watching.